Hey, what's going on, chess fanatics? We had a request from a viewer to take a look at the functionality of a DGT board as it's hooked up to a Fritz software set, to take a look at the eval, etc., and really just show off 1v1 play. So without further ado, we'll jump into that footage. While this is a Bluetooth board, I do have it directly hooked up via the USB cable. The responsiveness is relatively similar between Bluetooth and hardwired. However, I find that if I have the option to hardwire something, I'm always going to take that route. Perhaps a bit of an old school approach, but I do find it to be always the most reliable option. It comes with Fritz. This is the newest version, which I bought separately. However, DGT boards interface natively with it. Basically, you can just go over and click on board and select the DGT board, and effectively it's ready to rock, assuming you have the Rabbit software installed, which are the DGT drivers. I'm not really going to go over any of the driver settings in depth because there's a lot of info there. There's also third-party drivers that many people want to take a look at, and I would highly recommend that they do. It really can increase the functionality, but we're going to keep this one relatively restricted to the responsiveness and how someone might use this. So as you can see, when we play a move, the machine picks it up very rapidly. I really don't find any issues with it whatsoever. In fact, I've been always pleasantly surprised with the DGT boards in general. So let's play, for example, a bit of a Queen's Gambit. Okay, we'll just develop out the knight for good measure. And now, what if we go ahead and, you know what, let's just push c5 here. We will now go ahead and develop a knight. We'll just make some kind of random moves here. And then what we'll do is just draw attention over to the evaluation profile. So this is kind of just showing how the game is trending overall. If there's any massive fluctuations, it'll highlight it there. And as noted, we have the engines over here essentially also calculating and annotating. So it says right now the position's equal. And so it will kind of give you that real-time annotation. Of course, you know, you can turn on the numerical representations if you want to see such a thing. In this instance, the eval bar is probably sufficient. However, I think we're all familiar with the plus and minus, positive being better for white and negative being better for black. If we go ahead and make a huge blunder, for example, see, it moves immediately and the eval profile starts screaming. It does not like this whatsoever, and for good reason. It is honestly an absolutely terrible move. So what we can do is play bishop's takes here. And now you can see that clearly we're, you know, maybe about 6 moves in according to this. We just have an absolutely atrocious position. Now, if you also note on the bottom left, you can start to see some lines that may be of interest. You can look at more lines, you can look at less lines essentially. You kind of just add here, right? And then you can start to see, okay, well, clearly we're plus 11. So it's pretty interesting from that perspective. If you want to put these games through to somewhere like chess.com, for example, there are options that exist, Lichess as well. And what you want to do is get the DGT Live software, and what it'll do is allow you to create, essentially a link in the DGT cloud, and then you can just reference that in the board setup on Lichess, for example, and you can now broadcast your games live. If that's something that you are interested in doing. We're not going to go into that now. There are some videos on YouTube that demonstrate this quite nicely for those who are interested. But maybe what we'll do now, seeing as we can see that we're, plus 11 right now, and again, the eval profile is absolutely screaming at us. Maybe what we will do is we'll just make a couple more moves here. And okay, we'll just do some silly stuff. And you can see when we make a couple moves in quick succession, the board really picks that up. Doesn't seem to run into any issues. In fact, I very rarely find that it misreads things. You do want to move quick enough so it doesn't stop. I have it set at 400 milliseconds, and I find that that's pretty good for me. You can certainly do faster or slower times if you like. Basically, it just is showing the amount of time that it takes to actually register the move. So as we can see, the last move highlighted there, we could go knight takes, for example. But what if we, let's make some bad moves here and see what starts to happen. So let's develop a knight, and then we'll move our queen here. And now all of a sudden you can see it starts screaming to the other side, right? -4. If we go d5 captures e4. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. And wow, what a monstrous change we see already. What we could do now is, okay, let's just move that knight away. And maybe the easiest thing to do would be to just make a couple more random moves. Again, you can see that they're picked up quite quickly. King over and then the rook, and you can see that it castles. We still have a significant advantage for black at about 3 pawns at this point in time. Now let's take this. We can see with best play, obviously knight captures back, but we're not going to do that. Instead, what we'll do is bring the knight in here, hanging it, and let's see, it wants us to take, obviously, and then play bishop d6. So if we want, we can move the pieces back. And as you see there, it'll just automatically set up the position. Pretty intuitive, I think, from that perspective. I really can't, again, complain with the quality of the product. I do wish it had a little bit better functionality when it came to natively supporting, the bigger sites in a more effortless manner. It does, again, still look like some of the new boards have a bit of an advantage there, but I gotta say, just from an overall training perspective, this is absolutely, I think, the setup that most people would like to see. Again, tournament-size board, beautiful wood pieces, and Fritz, which is completely competent software set. You can set it up and actually play games against an opponent on the live servers, which again is native here, but again, it's not a place that I typically play, so I don't really use that functionality. But I will also show you how you can use this to play a game against a bot. All right, guys, I was going to show you the bot play, but honestly, ran into a driver issue where it just didn't want to pick up the board for that portion of the game. And this is some of the challenges I think that exist with the DGT board. So again, you see a lot of good things, and then you see some negative things where, hey, is it the 32-bit driver, the 64-bit driver? What Fritz version does it relate to? All my drivers are appropriately set up, but sometimes you still need to go in, reinstall things. Then there's the live chess software. There's third-party drivers. Really could be done a lot more elegantly. I will be looking to pull in again some of those other boards in the near future to take a look at what that functionality looks like. in comparison to the DGT because I suspect it's a lot more linear. Again, I like the DGT board. It is a beautiful set, but some of the challenges that we deal with just don't need to be there. I think it's great for live tournament play, setting that up into the cloud, for example, having it kind of stream out those games. But I think some of those other boards can do that very same thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next year or two looks like in the e-board realm. I do suspect we're going to see some really cool stuff, and I think the software is going to continue to be developed. Probably more robustly from some of the competitors. Uh, DGT better look out because I think there's a lot of people coming for them, and it's only a matter of time before it gets disrupted. All right, thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.